Upon researching this topic, there are plenty of righteous questions out there, in my opinion. And one thing is for certain, we haven't been told the truth. Anyway, it's very difficult to not be all over the place with findings of any research at this point. And so, for the sake of you, my audience, I will attempt to stay on topic. However, I'll ask for your patience if I veer here and there simply because there is that much information to sort through. As we turn our attention to the Mounds in Mississippi, the first stop is to a city that has several of these mounds in close proximity. One which is notable because it's the second largest mound earthenwork in North America and the United States. And that city has a unique history all its own. And just as a little side note here, while visiting this beautiful little gem tucked away, or should I say nestled along the Mississippi River, just so unassuming to the historical significance surrounding it, we were informed that it's an international city, which I find noteworthy because I didn't know exactly what that meant, and I'll tell you more on that in a minute. Natchez is the only city of Adams County in Mississippi and is the oldest city on the Mississippi River. The wealth of this city is not really reflected in its population or size. Having frequently visited this city throughout my life, it is a beautiful city that very much reminds me of New Orleans, Louisiana, another city I have frequently visited. In my opinion, Natchez is just a smaller version of New Orleans, both cities dripping in mystery, history, and mystique, just like the Spanish moss hanging down through the silhouette of trees. Both New Orleans and Natchez are in relative close proximity along the Mississippi River and have a similar background to the colonial French period and influence. In the 1700s, the narrative goes that there was a co-merging of different ethnic groups to Natchez. Ethnic groups ranging from the French, African American, Native American, British, and Spanish, a melting pot of cultures, beliefs, and professions. And here's a direct quote from the current mayor of Natchez, Mr. Gibson. And because Natchez is the oldest city on the Mississippi River, it has a rich history. And going back to when my husband and I last visited this city in November of 2022, the people at the Visitor Center informed us that Natchez is an international city. And I have no idea what that meant, and I couldn't wait to find out. And so let me tell you what I came across. First, let me point out that they cite it as a global city. They define this as a city that serves as a primary node in the global economic network and is also known as a power city, world city, alpha city, or world center. The international city is an autonomous or semi-autonomous city-state that is separate from the direct supervision of any single nation state. So what does this mean? Well, according to their definition, it's a sovereign city which serves as the center of political, economic, and cultural life over its contiguous territory. Cities like Rome, Athens, Singapore, Vatican City, Hong Kong, and Washington, D.C. fall into this category. So how can Natchez be under this? Well, they claim the rationale for the establishment of making Natchez an international city is because of its ethnically mixed, and the city has been previously contested by different nation states. My question is when? I've never heard any nation states contesting about Natchez. Have you? Not surprising, international cities were established in the 1920s through the 1940s following World War II and World War I in America. Why? How many other cities in the U.S. are considered international cities? And the better question is, how many city-states are there in the U.S.? And why would any of these cities classify themselves as that? I mean, what I'm starting to see is a global government being set up right before our very eyes. So let me just point out that international cities are a form of condominium. And in international law, a condominium is a political territory in or over which multiple sovereign powers formally agree to share equal dominion and exercise their rights jointly without dividing it into national zones. What? And if we read just a little further here, how does our Constitution line up with all of these international treaties and agreements that our governments or politicians or powers that be have entered us into? That's what I would like to know. Natchez is a mystery all within itself, for sure. And it's a tiny city surrounded by these temple mounds, engulfed in a mosaic of riches and wealth, displayed openly in the number of mansions built here. There is no shortcut to the truth, and it's essential to have an understanding of the land, the city, the people, and the culture that helped form these areas surrounding the Temple Mounds, along with significant events that took place in and around these Temple Mounds. So the narrative continues with the French, who allegedly established this city and ceded the city and near territory to Great Britain under the Treaty of Paris of 1763. And it goes on to say the British Crown bestowed land grants in this territory to officers who had served with distinction in the war. These officers came mostly from the colonies of New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. Well, fiddle-dee-dee, you mean to tell me the wealthy plantations in the South were started by Yankees? Yep, that's what they're saying here. These bloodline wealthy families whose men served the crown were awarded these lands to build the plantations and brought their upper-class style of living, or better said, occult and ritual practices, to the area. Land grants taken and given by the ruling kings of this earth are another rabbit hole all on its own. I'm stopping here and will continue in the next video with part 2 of the oldest city on the Mississippi River.